What's up, fellas? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve and this is Tech Teardown. Today we're going to find out if you can PC game for $50. So here I have is a Dell Optiplex 7010. It's a small form factor and it has an i5 3470 at 3.2 gigahertz. It's a 4-core and 4-threaded processor. It also has 8 gigabytes of RAM, a 240 gigabyte SSD. And the controversial part of this computer is the graphics card, which I got the NVIDIA Quadro K600. It's a very old workstation graphics card, definitely not used for gaming. And I have to say, for this whole build, it's going to be hard to repeat, but also something I'm not going to recommend that you do, especially if you take gaming pretty seriously. This was not a great experience gaming on it for the most part. There are some esports games that you can play on very low settings with 60 FPS average or more, but overall not a great experience, but definitely something if you really need to get in on some League of Legends, World of Warcraft, probably. I didn't test World of Warcraft. Other games you can definitely get in on. I did overclock the graphics card in MSI Afterburner to try and get a little bit more performance. It definitely did help a lot overclocking this. The K600 only has 192 CUDA cores and only 1 gigabyte of DDR3 video RAM. The only reason I went with the Quadro K600 is I got it for free, and it was really hard to find a low-profile graphics card that plays any games at all for a decent price. They still charge an arm and a leg for a GTX 1050 low-profile version, over $100, which I understand that the low-profile graphics cards do come at a premium for a reason. Just the engineering that goes into them definitely takes a lot out of the cost. Just paying over $100 for a GTX 1050 today is just not worth it in my opinion. So I took what I got, a free graphics card, and you can definitely play some games with it. You have a really nice cheap computer if you don't want to do any gaming. Excellent value, I'd say, if you are looking for something just to play League of Legends on or just surf the web with. This is a decent computer for only $50. So just again, to reiterate, Quadro graphics cards not meant for gaming. You can game on them. They're just not going to be great performance. If you are looking for gaming, definitely try to steer clear from this. If you're trying to save money, these low profile systems aren't going to be the best option because low profile they're so expensive. You'll see in my charts that the K600 performs worse than the integrated graphics from the Ryzen 3200G and probably even the 2200G. On top of that, the 3470, it's missing CPU instructions. That's another topic that I've covered in previous videos, especially the i7-950 video that I did. Without the AVX2 instructions, it's just an older processor. It's not going to perform as well as newer processors, obviously. But those AVX2 instructions are becoming more and more important nowadays. So if you are looking for a gaming computer to last you a couple of years, I think you're going to want something that is going to include those AVX2 instructions. And that didn't come until 4th gen Intel. So you want to look at, if you want to stay in the modern times with those new instructions, you want to look at 4th gen Intel, which is still extremely expensive. You're better off just going Ryzen at that point because the 4th gen Intel is just not worth it for the price that they're charging now on eBay for those processors. And old Intel motherboards are also pretty expensive for the most part. And then on the AMD side, I believe the AVX2 instructions didn't come until the FX series, which we all know the FX series wasn't the greatest launch from AMD. With the Ryzen 3200G at $99, if you're near a Micro Center, you can get the Ryzen 5 1600, a 6-core 12-threaded processor for only $80. So that is something I would much rather you guys go after. All my rambling aside, I'm going to go ahead and get into the benchmarks. Some of the games I did forget to film myself playing. For instance, Fortnite, I uninstalled the game before I realized I wanted to film myself playing the games. So unfortunately with Fortnite, you'll just see some charts. But without further ado, let's go over those performance charts. Alright, starting off with Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I was actually able to get over 60 FPS at 1080p. Very low settings, lowest possible settings, no anti-aliasing whatsoever. With an average frame rate, we have 72.3 FPS with 1% lows at 47.8. Then we're moving on to Fortnite. Now Fortnite, I did play at 1080p, but with a render resolution that brought it down all the way to 480p. With 480p, we have an average of 65 frames per second, and we have a 1% low of 40.6. Mind you, this is also on low settings. Even the draw distance is also on low. All right, and then Rocket League, a game I purchased just to do this video and so we can test more esports titles on these low-end systems. I have an average frame rate of 74.7. This is on the lowest settings possible for high performance. It is at 1080p. So we have an average frame rate of 74.7 and a 1% low of 60.3. And then League of Legends, another game I downloaded just for this video. We were playing on 1080p medium settings. We have an average frame rate of 96.6 with 1% lows of 55.6. Sorry if this gameplay is annoying you. This is literally the first time I've ever touched League of Legends, so I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. GTA 5 was played at 720p, the lowest possible settings with no anti-aliasing. Using the in-game benchmark, we have an average frame rate of 47.2 and a 1% lows of 2.3. And then finally, I did test Overwatch. This I had at 1080p, but with a render resolution or render scale of 50%, as well as the lowest settings with no anti-aliasing. And we did have an average frame rate of 56.1 and 1% lows of 39.3. All right, guys, as you can see, gaming performance is not great on this system, mostly to do with that Quadro K600. If you were lucky as me to get a free graphics card like the K600 or just a low profile graphics card and you need that small form factor, definitely I'm not going to deter you. The 3470, despite what I said about the CPU instructions, can get you by for the time being, but I'm pretty sure in the near future, AVX2 is going to become more and more important. So if you're looking for something to last you a long time, you definitely want to go something newer. I'm pretty sure I've said all I have to say about the system. Try to steer clear from the Quadro series if you are at all trying to game. You can game on them, but definitely not the greatest option. If you're really serious about gaming and wanting a good performance, I would say steer clear from this. After a long period of time in gaming, the system started to bog itself down and would slow down. I benchmarked Grand Theft Auto 5 and got decent benchmarks. Then I benchmarked it again to try and get video footage of me benchmarking the system, and the frame times were 10 times worse than they were when I originally benchmarked it. So it definitely bogged down quite a bit after hours of testing games and all of that. Any of you that just want to contact me with any questions about tech, I'm very open. I've gotten lots of messages on Instagram and Twitter from people just asking for help with their current rig or rigs that they want to build. So don't hesitate to try and reach out to me. I am here to help. But that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. If you want to see more from us, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell. If you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, let me know down in the comments what you didn't like about it. That way I can fix it in the future. And I want to thank you for making it all the way through this video, and I'll see you in the next video.